is VSiN By The Books on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We begin hour number 2, VSiN By The Books. Dave Ross. I am here at Circus Sports Fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. He is Jensen Lewis, our closer back home in Cleveland, Ohio. Jensen, it's kind of the calm after the storm here at the books. I did see, I don't want to say stragglers, because if you're still here and you're doing whatever you're doing at this hour in Las Vegas, I salute you. I tip my cap to you. I can't do it anymore at that with that vim and vigor like I used to it as a younger man. But it does feel like it's going to crank back up again, Jensen, out here in Las Vegas as we get ready for San Antonio in the Final Four next week.
I really salute everybody there at Circa for just a brilliant setup, not only for MLB opening, a domestic opening day. As you and I kind of left the book on Thursday, just seeing the throngs of people start to come in at that early hour, it was so remarkable. And then coming back down and seeing just every seat filled.
Oh man,
it was so fun. Great week to be there with you, bud. Can't wait to come back. I got to call the Hefe, Steve Cohen, and see when our next foray into the in-studio week will happen here. But a job well done by everyone there. A lot of fun. And
shout out to our guy, Mike Palm. You and I and Mike got to hang out a little bit on Friday, watch some baseball together, which was a lot of fun for opening. The first couple of days here of opening day, we got to watch a little Rockies and Rays because for some reason that was the only game on at that hour, if you can believe that, for Major League Baseball. We got to work out that scheduling. But to that end, we're going to have Adam Rosenberg join us this hour as well. It'll be great to catch up with Adam, talk some Major League Baseball. But let's get to our highlights and headlines here for VSiN By The Books here on this Monday. And a lot of them, it is coming around Major League Baseball. Of course, obviously, the Final Four is set with all 4 number 1 seeds moving on to San Antonio. But I do feel like a lot of the talk has been around Aaron Judge, the torpedo bats. We talked about it with Cody Decker, and that certainly has been a highlight and a headline in week 1 of Major League Baseball season.
Yeah, the verdict is certainly in, and the Milwaukee pitching staff, as we affectionately said, torpedoed by the Yankee offense. Okay, here are the lines for Aaron Judge. He's hitting a cool .545. Woo. He's slugging over 1,800. His OPS, just for people that realize what this looks like, and again, it's 3 games, but an OPS over 1,000 is really, really good. His is at 2,461. Okay, that's insane. 11 RBIs, 4 homers. He had 3 in 1 game. So he really led a Yankee parade of long balls. So again, where are your actionable spots here? Until further notice, you could do Yankee team total overs, but I would give you the caveat that, Dave, as they begin their series against the Diamondbacks beginning tomorrow, you have the top of the Diamondback rotation here. So you have Burns, you're going to have Zach Gallen, and you'll have Merrill Kelly. And so that's a pretty strong trio to run out there. And, oh, by the way, back into their bullpen, Justin Martinez, AJ Puck, 2 of the best swing and miss artists there is. We get a pretty good idea of what this torpedo bat looks like. And I echo Cody Decker's sentiments here. It wasn't just the Yankees. Ryan Jeffers with the Twins, Junior Caminero with the Rays. It's made its way around the league. So let's allow these couple of weeks to transpire before we pass judgment on where it is.
Again, the only way I can describe it, if you haven't been watching over the weekend, you are immersed in college basketball, we can understand. It's like, you're on the on-deck circle, you have your donut on your bat to give it a little bit more weight. It looks like the bat ate the donut. Right, yeah. Like it just kind of swallowed it, and it's stuck in the middle of the bat a little bit. So it's gonna, instead of the barrel, it goes down a little bit lower to get that thickness for that torpedo bat. And again, I don't know will this go away? Is this just a trend for hitters, or do you think the torpedo bat is really here to stay?
Yeah, again, let's revisit this in about 3 weeks because we know that it's not just to one team, right, Dave? So I think it's unfair to just say, okay, we blame one place and should we ban them after 3 days? No, we shouldn't do that. And I also echo, like, you got to make your pitch.
Yeah.
And when you're in Yankee Stadium, take it from someone who's been there. Derek Jeter hit one of the cheapest home runs in Yankee Stadium history off me for a go-ahead home run in the 8th inning. I'm not complaining. I'm not still bitter about it. But again, you have to understand your dimensions here, and you have to really be mindful that if indeed this bat is giving just a little more advantage for guys and getting a little more juice to it, then you got to be really mindful about not making mistakes out over the big part of the plate.
Let's keep going with our highlights and headlines here as we begin hour number 2. And again, we talked about this with Cody Decker here a little bit in hour number 1. Some of those undefeated teams that are out there versus those teams that maybe not so sharp in their starts. What are your takeaways here?
Yeah, first of all, the Cardinal number you talked about moving from 10-1 in the Central Division is now 4-1, and so that is an influx of public money that is just stampeding to try and take the Cardinals. Okay, I get that. If you're looking to buy low, we mentioned the Twins and Tigers numbers have not changed in the American League Central. If you're looking to buy low, buy the Braves and buy the Braves in heaps, because I agree that there is going to be a little bit of a rebound here. They get Acuna back. It changes that lineup dynamic, and they're too good of a pitching staff, man. They really are. And they didn't get Dave. They by no means in 4 games, they gave up 17 runs. By no means did they get just absolutely torched the way that Milwaukee did in Yankee Stadium. But if you're going to buy low, again, I relate this to the stock market. This is like the open of the market where prices just plunge. Go ahead and buy low on the Braves right now. They will rebound in a big way.
I tend to agree. Again, don't overreact. As a Met fan, I love to see it at 0-4. By the way, I did not gobble up any of those Mets futures to win the East. And again, the Phillies are the team that I was looking at here, but we'll see how that plays out. But an 0-4 start here for the Braves. This is going to be the best time to buy if you want to buy low on them. You had mentioned Bo Bichette last week going into Major League Baseball in the start of the season, and a pretty darn good start for him and Stephen Kwan, correct?
Yeah, Bo Bichette tied with Wilyer Abreu, Tyler Soderstrom, and Fernando Tatis Jr. with 7 hits. They all lead Major League Baseball right now in that category. 40-1 in pocket that I have for Bo Bichette to lead the league in hits. Also, Stephen Kwan. We call it a Quanderful start here in Cleveland, as he has 6 hits in 12 ABs, a cool 500 average for him. Got him at 19-1 pre-flop. Again, depending on the books, and shop around. Sometimes these markets get reposted here after the first week or so. And so just guys that you might want to circle that are not currently listed. I mean, how about Christian Campbell, the young rookie for Boston? Yeah. He's got 6 hits. Ketel Marte with the Diamondbacks has 6 hits. Jackson Merrill, Josh Naylor, a couple of big names here. Shohei Ohtani has 6. And I'll also throw out Kyle Tucker, who I had at 50-1 to lead MLB in RBI. He is tied for second. He has 7 on the young season. And so, again, these are also big-time starts for guys. If you want to try and jump in, you missed the boat, great. If not, there's a couple of guys maybe that at very, very long numbers might have shortened a bit, but still very actionable these first couple of weeks.
You know, it's interesting to me, Jensen, because you always talk about, for pitchers, sometimes you get to pitch backwards to certain guys depending on what those trends are. When you see a rookie coming up like in Boston here, is there going to be a book that comes out on him that maybe this hot start does not last, and they go, wait a minute, this kid's hitting fastball? Like, what do pitchers do to adjust to guys that they haven't really seen once or twice and now starting to get his feet wet here in the big leagues?
Yeah, it's the beauty of baseball and really our scouting departments, the analytics departments, and the evolution of video, how you can really maybe diagnose some weaknesses in hitters and their approach and their swings. And so, yeah, there will be an acclimation period here for Christian Campbell as we get moving. And then it really is incumbent upon the player, Dave, of how do they react to the league adjusting to them. If they can do it quickly, that usually means some staying power for these young stars. And so it may not be one this year. Maybe Christian Campbell takes the league by storm this year. Usually it's that sophomore campaign where the book is then out and the league will adjust to him.
A great start for Mackenzie Gore in the Washington Nationals, his first time out. And I know this is somebody you had identified for this left-hander. And again, the fruits of the Juan Soto deal all these years later, right? Starting to come to fruition a little bit for DC. In your highlights and headlines, what do you pick up here on that possible Cy Young candidate?
Yeah, first of all, it was an astronomically high number for the ace of the national staff. And I was just thinking in my mind of, okay, well, if Sandy Alcantara can get the kind of run that he does in the Cy Young race, the last handful of seasons, and obviously didn't last year because he was injured. But Mackenzie Gore was north of 50-1, 60-1 in some places, already down to 45-1. Again, still a long number, but 13 strikeouts, no walks in his first start against a very potent Philadelphia Philly lineup that usually handles business when they go to the nation's capital. Dave, you've seen it plenty there from your time in D.C. That is a business trip that they have no problem getting in and checking out and winning a series. So 13 punch outs in 1 start, second only to Yoshi Yamamoto, who's had 2 starts already, has 14 starts. I would also look at Jesus Luzardo for Philadelphia, up there with a really nice start to his year. A couple of guys you and I have in pocket, Logan Gilbert and Hunter Green, both north of 20-1. And also knowing where you could have some surprises. You get a Taj Bradley, who I had at 80-1, is down to 70-1 in the American League Cy Young race. Without Shane McClanahan, you're looking at Pepio, you're looking at Bradley as those guys that will get some of the attention now for the Tampa Bay Rays.
Running out the highlights and headlines here, the baseball edition of, and Rafael Devers. A lot of talk about Rafi and whether or not he's going to play or play the third base, or am I going to be a DH? What do you make of week number 1 here for Rafi?
Well, if it wasn't for Rafi Devers, we'd be talking about Seiya Suzuki, who has 12 strikeouts, albeit in 25 ABs. But the more glaring statistic is Rafi has no hits.
That's
he's
amazing.
0 for 16. And usually, if it's snowballed to this point, why not take, and you can find this on DraftKings. It may have come down. I'll double check in the break here. But first plate appearance, exact result. Why not? When you look at kind of where Rafi has struggled up to this point, what it could be leading into today. So the pitching matchup, he's going to go against Sean Newcomb, who is a lefty. Cade Povich against the Orioles. And so let's see what happens, but I wouldn't mind sprinkle a little bit on that first at-bat exact result.
0 for 16, 12 Ks.
A lot of free air conditioning, a lot of it.
Is that it? That's got to be between the ears, doesn't it? It can't just be they're getting them out and with good stuff. Yeah,
and they are, but he's also getting himself out, and that's why I'm thinking hey, get out of the chute. They're on the road, so you'll have that instantaneous satisfaction one way or another at the top of the first.
I could go 0 for 16 with 12 Ks and save the Red Sox a lot of money. Gonna leave it at that. Let's get back to the Final Four because again, it's something we haven't seen quite often. That is all 4 number 1 seeds will be in San Antonio. We'll take a breakdown of those 2 big games coming up on Saturday. That's next here, VSiN By The Books.
You're tuned in to VSiN By The Books, right here on VSiN.
We continue the Monday edition, VSiN By The Books. Dave, Ross, and Jensen Lewis. A lot of baseball talk. Adam Rosenberg is going to join us here later on this hour to get Adam's thoughts here on the beginning of Major League Baseball season. We appreciate everybody getting at us on X as well. We got a really good tweet here from Doug Tuttle. He asked, is it really a bad thing that with all the Yankees home runs, or does it make Major League Baseball a little bit more exciting? And again, you can get at us at JLou50 and at D-Ross Sports, at VSiN Live. We appreciate Doug chiming in. And I just responded to him during the break. I said, none of this stuff bothers me at all, but I do love a good fake outrage story so far in the Major League Baseball season for people to get their dander up about this stuff. We're seeing the competition committee in the NFL, Jensen. They're debating whether or not they're going to ban the tush push. And apparently there is a push to ban the tush push. I'm a Cowboy fan. I don't think it should be banned. Stop it. As long as the bats, the torpedo bats in Major League Baseball, that they're within the legal ramifications of the bat specs, then don't ban it. Why do we do that all of a sudden? We got to be so outraged. Oh, my God, the Yankees, we can't have this offense. Oh, we got to ban the tush push. Why do we do this as a sporting society? The things we can't stop, we got to then try to get rid of.
I remember in baseball, right, the opener, everyone was like, oh, my God. And then even before that, it was the genius of the shift and sticking a guy in short right center field. Again, I benefited from that, but I also did not when there was no one over by the third base line with 2 outs, and now all of a sudden the guy from second scores. So I do think it's remarkable. But I echo our man, Adam Burke. How did it take over 130 plus years for someone to finally be like, oh, hey, maybe we should kind of redesign the barrel of the bat a little bit and, stay within the parameters and the legal ramifications of where the rule book has it. So I digress. I think it's outstanding, and it obviously gets us away from, will the Dodgers ever lose a game? They will, but it may not be for a while.
And again, under a Lewis Ross administration, we will push day one that there should be no such thing as illegal defense in major sports, in my opinion. I don't like if you in the NBA you want to put 5 guys in the lane and just clog down the lane, they're going to shoot threes. You want to put 5 guys in the perimeter, then you're going to have some rim runners. To me, if you want to shift and put everybody on one side, hit it the other way. Just beat it. Jensen, I don't know why we have to have illegal defenses. And again, if these torpedo bats, I mean, if this becomes a real story that has to be looked at by the commissioner, Rob Manfred, in Major League Baseball, I'm going to laugh if they go, oh, man, we got to think about getting rid of these bats. It's not like Sammy Sosa, who was putting balls in the barrel of the bat. Remember the springs? Like, there's a difference between blatant cheating and redesigning a bat to fit the specs that Major League Baseball has, right? I mean, you're not banging on a trash can in H-Town to know what pitch is coming. There are different levels of this, but to me, this does not infringe, nor does tush push in football infringe on the rules of the game. Like, what are we doing here?
Well, again, it's not corking the bat either. And as far as baseball terminology there, you're not doing anything illegal to the bat. And I think that's probably the frustration for pitchers is it's legal, man. Like, let's make your pitches. Let's see. And as I said, no passing of judgment. Give it another 3 weeks because it's not just the Yankees using them, but actionable spots here, not only for anytime home runs, or I would say also overs on total bases. If you're looking at the Yankees at home, because that ball's going to carry a little bit more as we've seen. And so maybe routine fly balls don't become routine anymore.
Remember, they literally had to sneak into the dugout and try to replace
Jason Grimsley. Had to climb through the air duct for Albert Bell. Absolutely remember that one.
And again, like two of the greatest scandals in Major League Baseball history to me that we all saw play out was when Sammy's bat busted and the springs come out of the bat. Like it's like a piñata coming out of the bat when it breaks open. And if you go back, I believe it was Joe. I don't know which Negro brother. It was Joe Negro when he was pitching, and all of a sudden they come out to check him, and then like an emery board falls out of his head. Like he had an emery board on the mound to doctor the baseball. There are different levels, people. So I know we're all going crazy over these torpedo bats. Those were real incidents of cheating in real time that we saw play. And the Astros banging on the drum. All that stuff happened. So there's different levels of this. I don't think this needs to be the outrage that everybody has there. Hopefully there'll be no scandals in the Final Four when we get to San Antonio on Saturday. I don't think there will be. Maybe the question will be, is John A. Broome, is he going to, one, be able to go, and two, if he does go, what version of Broome do we get? Because we heard from Bruce Pearl in the last hour, like he says, hey, you guys keep doubting this guy. He just keeps putting up numbers. Can Auburn win this game if Johni Broome is not, what's the percentage we need? 90% to beat Florida? Because just for people that don't remember, first week of February, Florida went to Auburn with 100% Johni Broome, and they slapped him around down there in Auburn's barn. So do they have even a fighting chance if he's only got one good arm in this contest?
I would think that Florida has to play the first half of how they did against UConn to allow Auburn to be in that game. And Auburn cannot have the first half they had against Alabama State. Like that, none of that can come together if, they feel like they're going to win. The other part of this too, think about the bigs here for Florida, and they could impose their will if they wanted to and get, if Broome is not 100%, get some early foul trouble, and now you're forcing Bruce Pearl to have to really depend on his backcourt to do a lot of damage. Not a good recipe for Florida, and especially getting that amount of time for Todd Golden and company to game plan for a Johni Broome and for maybe a less than 100% Johni Broome. So love the matchup here, but also it's intriguing the data. We were talking about it earlier. The number has come down a little bit, at least in the money line. Florida was minus $1.55 beginning of the show. They're at $1.48 right now. So a little tightening early, some early money here on that Final Four matchup.
You're right, because Florida's gotten off to really slow starts in first halves here. Even against Maryland, they were only up by 2 at half before they blew them out in the second half. So you would think Florida does not want that to happen. That might be Auburn's best pathway to an upset as 2.5-point underdogs here against Florida. We heard Bruce Pearl say that the best player in the country is Johni Broome. I think Duke people are like, objection, Your Honor. It's Cooper Flagg. Now, I watched that Alabama game. What's interesting in that blowout win, Cooper didn't look as good as Cooper Flagg normally looks. So don't take my word from it. I want to hear from Cooper Flagg as well, talking about his performance against Alabama. They didn't really need to have Cooper at top level. Here's Cooper assessing his own performance against Alabama.
Each night could be somebody else's night. I think tonight Khan kind of stepped up and had the ball a lot. We ran a lot of actions for him. Tyrese was huge for us. I mean, I think it's just having so many talented guys on the team. It's not going to be your night every night, and just don't hang your head. Just keep playing hard. Somebody talked about just winning the 98%, doing all the little things. So just not letting the shots affect anything else you do, and just knowing that the rest of the guys got my back and are going to make those plays.
Is he really a freshman? It is amazing to me to watch this. I want to say kid. Everybody's a kid to me, but it is amazing to see him on the stage, kind of have that idea. And even when they didn't have him in the ACC tournament, towards the end of it, they went on and won the semis and the finals without him, which I think says something too about this Duke team as a whole. But don't hang your head, man. It's not about you. I think for Duke backers, and I can see why they've moved the even money here to win the national championship behind me at Circa. It's with that perspective of man, we got other guys, man. I know everybody talks about me and Cooper Flagg, but it's not just about Cooper Flagg. They've got a lot of talent, and John Shire's getting the best of it. What do you make of Cooper? They didn't even need him to be Cooper Flagg, and they blew out Alabama.
Yeah, and that's the part that you wonder is, okay, that is Alabama, who had really no defense all year. Now you go to the complete opposite spectrum here with Houston, the best defensive team in the country. Duke is the best offensive team, so we have best on best. What I think I look at the handicap early, just from where the numbers are. Please tell me why 4.5 should not be screaming to back Houston. And maybe I'm missing something. I'm just looking at the numbers purely, just trying to be objective. Okay. There really is no differential that is, just one side or the other. But I would lean a little bit more on what Houston just showed us and realize Duke has yet to have kind of a dud. Not to say that they will, and they could steamroll this. They could pull a UConn from what we've seen from years past. I'm just going to say that I think that Houston is going to be that team that it doesn't get enough run this week and is really going to come out and try and prove some people wrong. Remember, they're the second game, so they're going to wait a little bit and kind of anxious to see with Duke waiting around. That's going to be a very intriguing scheme matchup defensively for what Kelvin Sampson will throw out there.
Yeah, we always like to be transparent. I was dead wrong. I thought Alabama would really push them. I thought it was going to be a classic game. It was not, and it was very one-sided. And obviously, Alabama picked a bad day to have a bad game, but it would have been interesting at their best, and Cooper Flagg playing like that. Houston's going to muck it up. That's what they do. They did it against Tennessee. They certainly did it against Purdue as well. That's going to be interesting to see. Again, total feels a little bit high to me here. First blush on a Monday. We'll see if these numbers move here as the week goes, but I'm with you. I lean towards the way of Kelvin Sampson and the Cougar. By the way, $9.99 right now. VSiN Pro, it's an introductory offer, so it's not just March Madness. Obviously, you're going to get your daily betting splits, your best bets around there. It's with baseball. It's with everything else going on, getting ready for the April draft. So go to VSiN.com/subscribe, $9.99. Do so today. The Daily Diamond is next.
You're tuned in to VSiN By The Books, right here on VSiN.
We are back, VSiN By The Books. Dave, Ross, Jensen Lewis. A lot of fun in the break, just having conversations because of the torpedo bats is all the talk today in Major League Baseball. And we were talking it over with our producer, Jared, as well. There are so many scandals that we've all lived through in Major League, like real scandals. Like Michael Pineda, we just had pine tar on his neck, right? We're not supposed to see that. Jensen, why is it that, that's the Vaseline and the caps and all those things? He even goes back to the great movie Major League, right? Is that just a part of the game that everybody's looking for an edge? The ticky-tack, the substance on the ball, Garrett Cole from just 2 years ago, and spider tack and all that. Is this going to continue? What is it that we're with? Not necessarily the torpedo bats, but with pitchers, is it just implied that, yeah, we're always going to try to get away with something until we can't get away with it anymore?
Torpedo bat is not an illegal design of the bat. And so that's the thing is, your instant reaction as at least mine as a pitcher is, okay, well, I pitched against guys that took steroids, Dave. It's an illegal substance. I got A-Rod out when he was cheating. I got plenty of these guys out. Hey, the one is unforgivable is the Astros stealing signs, because that changes the game, Dave. I mean, here with the torpedo bats, you still have to hit the ball. All right. And the way the design is it helping, Yeah, at least initially in 3 games that we've seen, but let's wait. Let's wait a little bit. Let's see, against some higher echelon pitching, what these hitters do and away from Yankee Stadium, if you will. I would not pass early judgment just yet.
I love it. And again, Danny Graves, all-time saves leader in the history of the Cincinnati Reds. I remember asking him years ago, I said, Jensen, does it bother you? Because you just mentioned it. You played against guys in the steroid era that you knew were cheating. Like you knew what was going on, or at least breaking the rules of the time, whether you want to call it cheating or not. The rules were there, and they were circumventing those rules. And he told me then, Jensen, didn't bother him at all. Like, he's going to go out there, he's going to be clean, and he's going to try to get you out. And it's still my pitch. And that's the thing with the torpedo bats. Whether it's the letter of the law, spirit of the law, however you want to get to, if you're not breaking it, as a pitcher, you can't be concerned with that, right? You got to be concerned with beating them. Like, I got to go out there and make a better pitch and get you out.
Yep. And it was, again, the old days where, you had veteran starting pitchers that would throw high and tight, pitch number 1, just to, put that fear of God in you. And you never really dug in after that. It's not illegal, but, this day and age, you're going to get all kinds of different reactions that way if that happened. So, again, the game evolves. And I'm still going on what Adam Burke said. It took over 130 some odd years for someone to try and change the design of the bat within the legal structure in the rule book.
Love it. Yeah, nothing wrong with a little chin music. You back off my plate. It's my plate, too. Without further ado, let's get to today's edition of the Daily Diamond. All right, Jensen, I love it. Let's get to some choices that you have for us today here on this Monday, maybe starting off with some teams that are not off on the good foot.
Yes. Okay. Let's do a little would you rather theme continuing here with Daily Diamond. All right, Dave, would you rather have the Brewers today minus $1.15 hosting the Royals, or the Minnesota Twins minus $1.75 at the Chicago White Sox? Here's a caveat. Brewers and Twins both 0-3. Who do you like?
Okay, look, a little bit jaded here because I am a Reds backer in the Central. So it's really good for me to watch the Brewers, even though the Reds didn't get off to a good start on the weekend. I would rather take the Twins and lay the $1.75. If people were handicapping the Twins 1 to 10, I understood it. Or best record in Major League Baseball here in the month of April. Because you looked at the schedule and went, you got the White Sox coming up. You didn't expect a clunker in St. Louis. I got to think it's the Twins today, laying the $1.75 in the south side of Chicago. That's the way I'd go. Brewers are not pitching right now. Doesn't help that you're not hitting either. I got to go with win Twins today to get their first one.
Yeah, I'm seeing the Twins as high as minus $1.92 now. So just money getting out of hand as well. I would side with the Brewers at home. Again, you're getting the Bob Uecker tributes and everything, so they'll win one. They'll win one for Ueck there. I got the Brewers getting off the schneid. Okay, would you rather? Let's go to the flip side. Teams that are 3-0. Would you rather have the Marlins against your Metropolitans?
Come on.
No South Beach flu here. No South Beach flu. 3 straight walk-offs to start the year. Marlins plus $1.50, or another 3-0 team, the Cardinals, minus $1.35, hosting the Angels after the Angels took the series from the White Sox.
Well, I mean, the good news is the Mets are well rested since they didn't play yesterday and Sunday. Just bizarre scheduling there. It's going to be Cal Quantrill against David Peterson, the lefty for the Metropolitans on the bump here. I'm leaning towards the Mets there, but I will say this. It feels like it's a little bit too high. I'm seeing close to $2 for the Mets to get this win against the Marlins. Marlins have been the feel-good story to start, but if you made me back it today, I'm going to ride with the big lefty and Peterson. Do you like my pick?
I'm seeing also the Mets upwards of minus $1.92. So yes, oh God, 86% of the bets, 92% of the handle. We're probably going to see that as a book need, as they say today, for the Marlins to keep it going. Okay, let's go to some hitting props here. Would you rather have Kyle Schwarber 2 or more total bases at even money against Colorado, or Andrés Giménez, who's hitting cleanup now for the Toronto Blue Jays, 2 or more total bases against the Washington Nationals? Both of them have 11 total bases each to start the season.
Very interesting here. Look, I lean towards Schwartz because whenever you're playing the Rockies and they're pitching, Marquez on the bump here for Colorado, that's probably the side that I will look at here. But you tell me a little bit on this one, because I'm a little bit surprised by Jimenez and his start here. What do you make of Andres? Is that legit, or is this a mirage?
I think honestly, the change of scenery narrative is probably good for him. And I had thought with his approach, as long as he could keep from having to chase outside the zone, that was really the one thing that did him in a lot. But again, a great start for him, and a guy that is going to have to be very critical just by the numbers. Kyle Schwarber up against German Marquez today, 6 for 14, a double and 2 home runs career. That's a .429 average. Taking a look here as I scroll down to find Toronto. Andres Jimenez going up against Mike Soroka. Also decent numbers, 2 for 7 with a home run as well, 286 average. So pretty decent for both those player props. Okay, let's go to some totals. Would you rather have the over 8 for the Guardians and Padres? Yes, you're undefeated San Diego Padres. Or the over 8 for the winless Braves against the undefeated LA Dodgers. By the way, these are the 2 lowest totals on the slate heading into tonight.
Oh, this is a layup for me. Because you're finally getting, because I know the Dodgers are 5-0 to start the year, but you're finally getting to where the depth of the rotation is eroded, because they got to put this Tyler Glasnow guy out there. Who knows what he's going to become in this league? It's an embarrassment of riches for the Dodgers pitching, but we had Cody Decker on in hour number 1, and I'm going to roll with Cody's theme here. Just play the overs. If you like the Dodgers, right, instead of laying maybe the run line and the value isn't there, play the over, because this offense is so good. They can explode. What do you got? Grant Holmes on the bump here for the Braves today. I would play the over here on the Dodgers more so than the Padres, because I just don't trust the hitting yet. I know it's Hart and Ortiz going for the Guardians and the Padres here, but I'm gonna say that they're going to be at least get 5 against Holmes, and that's going to get me more than halfway to get over 8.
Yeah, very interesting here. For the Guardians and Padres, 36% of the bets, 49% of the handle on the under 8. So more bets, obviously, on the over there. Very interesting. Braves and Dodgers, 68% of the bets, 51% of the handle on the over. So that's 35% up to 51% of the bets there for the over. Okay, finally, and these are always fun, instant gratification bets. Would you rather a no-run first inning bet between the Rangers and the Reds? And just so people know, that is Kumar Rocker against Brady Singer.
Your guy.
Or would you rather have a no-run first inning for the Red Sox and the Orioles? That is the home opener for Baltimore. Sean Newcomb against Cade Povich.
Okay, at first blush, I would say, man, I'd really like to play the no-run first inning here for the Reds and the Rangers. And I don't know that I want any part of trying to slow down the Orioles right now, at least the top half of that lineup and the runs that they were scoring. I know Blue Jays were able to hold them down yesterday a little bit here. I'm rooting for those Reds, and it's still Great American Small Park, and that worries me when you're playing no-run first inning, because it just takes one blast, and that bet gets whacked. But, man, do I really want to fade Baltimore right now, Jensen? I don't know that I do. So, by default, I would have to hold my breath and hope for no runs in Great American Ballpark here in that first inning.
I think I'm going Baltimore, and I'm going Red Sox.
Really?
I think Baltimore, I think the Red Sox, boy, that offense has struggled so much. That's a hold your nose for both of them, no question about it.
Yeah, you don't watch. Like, go out, if you got a dog, walk the dog for an inning and hope that you come back and still 0-0. Sharp Plays. If you haven't checked out Sharp Plays, you need to do so, because at sharpplays.com, you're going to get unmatched transparency with records that are updated each and every day. You're not going to see the fake cappers out there. It's all there for you. AI betting analysis. It's going to help you make better bets with the use of technology, real-time global betting info, or it's directly from the pros. So check it out today, sharpplays.com. Adam Rosenberg joins the program next.
You're tuned in to VSiN By The Books, right here on VSiN.
We are back, VSiN By The Books, on this Monday edition. Dave, Ross, and Jensen Lewis here. A lot of baseball talk, a lot of fun now that we're finally in the season now and getting through to 162. Can't wait to see how it all shapes up when we're talking here in September. But without further ado, let's bring in Adam Rosenberg back to the program. Always great to have Adam join us here in the Progressive Guest Line. You can give him a follow as I do at Hey Rosenberg on X. Adam, great Monday morning to you, my friend. We are excited the baseball season is back. What is your takeaway? Because it is an overreaction, and we see some of the books already adjusting here, Adam. What is your takeaway from the first weekend of domestic opening day?
So look, number one takeaway that I will have on a serious note is that, man, the Braves really miss Acuna at the top of that lineup. Because that is a cascading effect on an offense of having a guy who's a threat, both power and on bases. And you can see it right away. No shade to Jared Clinic and some of those guys, but there's a noticeable difference with this team. And I think they're going to get it right at their homestand, but they do not look good. But otherwise, I mean, look, everyone's talking about the Yankees' demise when Garrett Cole got hurt. I mean, I would love to hear what they have to say right now.
Adam, let's stay there with the Yankees then, because I know a lot of us, especially those that have played, we're looking at it saying, okay, what's sustainable? What can you rely upon? Apparently, it's just an MIT guy named Larry to redesign the bats, and that has cured all the ills because of the offensive outrage that we saw against the Brewers. You have more of a long-term look at where the Yankees are right now. And speaking of overreaction, you've got to play in one of those markets to be able to lock in today.
Yeah, so you can get the Yankees for the best record in baseball at 14-1, which I think is obscene given the torpedo bats era, which, by the way, you guys talked about in the last segment. The torpedo bat, like, there's nothing wrong with this bat. If you're a pitcher, maybe miss bats more and you won't have to worry about the torpedo bat. Okay, so I'm sorry, Aaron Savale. I'm sorry, the entire Brewers pitching staff. Look, this Yankees team last year held their water. I watched a Yankees team with non-playable characters in 23 have 82 wins. This team is better than that team. And really, it's a cap on the fact that the Dodgers at minus 200 for the best record, something that also has been talked about. They have this great pitching staff. They have this great offense. They're also the oldest team in baseball. They also have a lot of guys with injury history. I've said this. Sasaki's going to have a major adjustment route that's going to happen. We saw it with Yamamoto last year, and we're already seeing it with Sasaki here. Glass now goes today, and as soon as he hit his career high innings limit last year, he fell apart. So while, if the Dodgers get to September and they're up 9 games on ideally the D-backs, because I have the D-backs to finish second, I think a lot of these guys they don't need to necessarily chase the best record in baseball, but 14-1 for a team that's 3-0 has got a nerd on staff that is making it so they can just hit bombs better, which is not the case. Aaron Judge is very good at baseball, as is everybody else in the team. I love this bet. I think that this is like a wrong price for a fun market that you could watch every day.
Adam, I'm excited because the Metropolitans is going to take on those pesky Marlins today. All of a sudden, the Marlins look like, boy, you better not be in a situation where they can walk it off because they're going to do it. I believe you have added a play in this game just for yours truly. What do you have today?
Just for you. So Francisco Lindor has started off slow, but he is the MVP. Look, if Soto wasn't on that team, he'll get MVP votes. But he's an MVP, and he's fantastic. I don't know if anyone noticed this, but the Pirates ran all over the Marlins this weekend. 15 stolen bases. They had 106 last year. So they had almost 10% of their stolen bases for all of last year. They had this whole weekend. I don't think that was a Pirates thing. I think it's a Marlins thing. Not only that, Cal Quantrill is starting, who has a history of just letting up runners and letting them run. So, look, Lindor went to high school in Central Florida. I think this is a good series for him to bust out. But what I want to do is, rather than hope that he gets a hit, hope that he gets a home run, let's take him at 3-1 to get a stolen base. Because if he gets on, Cal Quantrill's the kind of guy you can run on, and we just saw from, albeit a small sample size, but 15 stolen bases against the Marlins this weekend is insane. And you can't just say that was just the team. That has to be catcher pop-up times as well as how the staff's managing base runners.
I love it.
Adam, I think one of the biggest overreactions that we saw was a non-overreaction, and that is in the division futures market for the American League Central. Like, literally unchanged at DraftKings. It keeps the Twins as the favorite with the Royals and the Tigers shortly behind. Tigers 0-3. Hey, sorry about your luck. You got to open up against the defending champs who look like world beaters, and they'll never lose a game. However, you're targeting the Central today with a play or two. What do you like, and what is your handicap on both those plays?
Yeah, I also want to remind people the Tigers had a 2% chance of making the playoffs last August, and then went on their run. This is a division that everyone beats each other up in. It's a war. So I'm buying low, quote unquote, on this Royals team that didn't look great this weekend. They were the best hitting team in spring training, and then they opened up the season against a team that plays them 14 times a year. Go figure, they didn't hit really well. You guys had mentioned it. The Brewers, who are having their home opener today. They're playing the Royals, and look, it's Bob Uecker Memorial. I'm sorry, I fade Memorials, I fade that kind of stuff. For the Royals, I'd rather buy low on what I think is a team that has one of the best hitters in baseball, Bobby Witt. And also this Brewers team, they only had one starter in their opening series that made it past the third inning. So this bullpen's been used, and then they turned around and traveled. So they obviously being the victims of the torpedo bats. The Royals, again, they lost 2 of 3 to the Guardians, who know them really well. One of those games was in extras. Top hitting team in spring training. They also were hitting in their own ballpark, which is one of the least hitter friendly ballparks. Brewers ballpark is a very good ballpark to jumpstart your offense. I like Bubic. Chris Bubic started today. He's like their project. So give me the Royals at pretty much even money. It's like -102, even money. Give me them for the whole game today.
I never thought on a Monday, Adam, we'd be using the phrase "victims of the torpedo bats" after one, but here we are in Major League Baseball. Let's talk a little bit about the Red Sox. And we thought their offense would be booming to begin the year. It has not. At least it didn't so far in Texas. And we talk about Rafael Devers. I mean, 0 for 16 with 12 Ks. Is this a fade spot on this Red Sox offense so far for this young season?
Yeah, so I mean, look, the total on this game is crazy high. It's the fact that we're taking a step back, 8.5 totals the first week of April. That's crazy. This is like, so I don't know. There's no dead ball. I think players are just better and science is just better. But I'm looking at the Red Sox team total under 4.5 today. They kicked off the season by going so far over the course of the weekend 3 for 17 against left-handed pitchers. Yes, Rafael Devers is a major reason for that. Their OPS is bottom part of the league. Again, 3 games. I like Cade Povich, who's starting for the Orioles. He didn't look good in his first 8 starts last year. He also had never really pitched. He hadn't really pitched at any levels to get things moving. But then his second 8 games, he cut his ERA in half. He looked a lot better. He actually has some pretty good strikeout stuff. Going back to last year, the Red Sox have not scored more than 3 runs against a lefty in 8 of their last 11. And on the road, they've only done it twice in their last 10 games. I get it. There's this lineup changes from year to year. But the way that their offense is moving right now, I think that I love the Orioles across the board in this. This Orioles team knows how to do one thing, and it's mash because they're just young guys who just keep doing that. I personally think they're going to run out of gas in July, but we can talk about that another day. But for today, Red Sox under 4.5 for their team total. I don't think they're going to get there.
All right, Adam, last one from me. Another under that you like, a specific player. Paul DeJong now with the Nationals, and they will be north of the border to take on the Toronto Blue Jays. Bowden Francis on the mound for Toronto. Under for a particular market that you like for Paul DeJong today.
So, okay, so while everyone wants to bet home runs right now, it's a great market to hit is not to get a hit at all. So, Paul D, I don't think Paul DeJong is a tier 1 player. Obviously, he got waived last year, and if you end up on the Nationals as a veteran, generally that's what happens. But look, he had 3 hits yesterday, which I think inflates things a little bit. But his expected batting average is 115, 5 Ks and 9 at bats. I'm really big on. I love Bowden Francis. I think Bowden Francis is actually a gem on that staff. And when everyone talks about who, if the Jays get to the playoffs, who would your Gausmans and your Berrios and your Maxes starting the playoffs. Bowden Francis is, I think, the real deal. So give me Paul DeJong to have no hits today at -110. It's a fun one. That's a great, we talk about under sweats. Try under sweats on a player that could get lifted in any time in the game. I took this on Jason Hayward's another great one to do on this because he never plays an entire game. I took him last night. Chris Bryant, maybe later this afternoon. A lot of these guys early in the season who are veterans, take them to not get a hit if they're cold. It's a fun sweat, but Paul DeJong, that's who I'm taking today to not have a hit in that entire game.
It's load management already, Adam, for some of these guys. But yeah, right. It's like you have to sweat out 3 ABs and they yank them before you can even get to a 4th. Hey, man, great to have you at the program. We appreciate your time as always. And thank you for putting in that Frankie Lindor bet today. I appreciate that.
For you, man, always.
Let's go, baby. Give him a follow on X as I do it. Hey, Rosenberg. Thanks for joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line. By the way, wherever you are, if you have the VSiN Watch app, you can download, have access to everything we do here at the network. So again, 24/7 live access to our audio and video streams. You can check it out, replays of your favorite shows like this one. You never miss anything. Big game stream, big screen streaming rather, and quick access to clips by sport tailored to your interests. So check it out right now. Download the VSiN Watch app. We are back. Hour number 3 straight ahead.